was probably 9 or 10 years old, and we were receiving some public assistance. And my mother would always sign for her benefits by marking an X. One day we had a social worker come over to our house and said to my mom, "Rosa, you can't sign your benefits with an X. You have to sign your name." And I had to communicate this to my mom because my mom didn't speak English and the social worker didn't speak Spanish. And my mother turned to me and said, "Dile que yo no sé escribir. No sé escribir mi nombre. I don't know how to write my name." So, even though my mom always said, school's important, you have to do well in school, you need to get an education, she didn't know how to write her own name. So I taught her how to write her name. So at that point, it became clear to me that education is important. You know, if we're going to break cycles, if we're going to make a difference for our families and for other families, we really need to encourage and protect the rights of our students to get a quality education. And you know, even though I knew that, you know, after that experience with my mother, when I entered into high school, again, I was just very angry because of a lot of the situations that I was dealing with and some of the stressors and hardships that were just making up my day-to-day life. But in the back of my mind, I always knew that if I get an education, things could be different. And I was fortunate enough to graduate from high school, Freedom High School, in 1981. And at that point I thought to myself, you know, this is good. We got a high school diploma, I'm ready for the world. Mom was happy that you know, the high school diploma was hung up on the wall. My two brothers also earned their high school diplomas, and we thought, that's it, that's all we need. But a few months after graduation, I was still working in the same restaurant, flipping burgers for 15 cents over minimum wage. And you know, breaking those negative cycles just really wasn't something that I saw as I could accomplish in that particular type of situation. But I was fearful. I mean, I was afraid of, you know, anything having to do with higher education. I struggled through school, but fortunately for me, a friend of the family, you know, a teacher, and the lady that eventually became my mentor, saw me sitting under a tree one day in the housing projects as she drove by. And she parked her car, got out of her car, and approached me and said, you know, "What are you doing with yourself? I know that you graduated from high school. What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, you know, I'm working. I'm making a little bit over minimum wage. Got a car. Diploma's hanging on the wall. Mom's happy. You know, life is pretty good." And at that point, she talked to me about going to college. And she says, "Why don't you think about college?" And I thought to myself, wow, college, that's, you know, that's not for me. That's not something that I've ever really aspired to.